Hi, and thanks for joining me today on Living for Great Health. I have got a great, quick, healthy meal for you today. We're going to do this for lunch. My wife and I, we love this meal. It's so quick to do. Very few ingredients. I'll tell you what I've got. I've got some pine nuts. Now, not everybody buys pine nuts, and they can be pretty expensive. So what I would suggest is if you want something else, maybe use some almonds, some pecans or walnuts, chop them up. To put in this meal that's really good. It's a rice bowl with chicken. What else I have is sun-dried tomatoes and my chicken, of course. Now, all my ingredients, including the rice here, and let me tell you about the rice. Whenever I buy my ingredients, I try to buy something with all natural ingredients, no fillers, nothing else. This one here is whole grain rice, broccoli, and carrots. It also comes no preservatives and no artificial ingredients in this one. So I try to buy all my products organic and pure ingredients. So read the back of the package before you buy anything. Well, if you've got a package you pick up and it's got more than about 3 or 4 things on there, you don't want it. So that's what I use. So I put that in the microwave and hold off on that. The rest of my ingredients, the first thing I do is I put my pine nuts in and I turn on the hot fire and I do myself a little toasting of my pine nuts. I like the pine nuts toasted. So as soon as they're done then, and we'll finish toasting those, what I'll do is I'll put them back in the little bowl here. And then I start my, my rice. And that goes about 4 minutes. So while I'm cooking that, I will cook the rest of my ingredients up here and just warm them up is all I'm doing. Now, I also take my bowls that I'm going to use and I put them in the oven. I like my bowls warm because otherwise stuff starts getting cold, especially if in the winter time you want to keep your food warm. Put them in the oven. Most ovens have a warming cycle. Stick them in there, warm them up before your lunch. The other thing I do is if I don't want to use the oven, I'll stick them in hot water and let them get warmed up. So that's another way to do it. So now with all our ingredients here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some butter in here. And what kind of butter I use is I use butter and olive oil together. And put it in here and saute it a little bit. I saute my chicken, saute my sun-dried tomatoes a little bit, but the pine nuts don't go in until I'm all done with that. So I use about a tablespoon, maybe a little bit more to start out with. Depends on how much I need in there. And while I'm doing this, just to remind you that anytime you're going to cook anything at all, you want to make sure you've washed your hands first. I did that before I started today. I think I'm going to use a little more butter in here. Make sure you wash your hands. Best way to keep clean. So once the butter's going, I take my chicken, just throw it in the pan. This is really, really easy. A little bit of sauteing here. Get the chicken warmed back up, because if you remember, if you've watched my other video where I cook my chicken ahead of time, it's been in the refrigerator. Again, this is another thing I use my chicken for that I chop up and I cook in advance. I take my sun-dried tomatoes, put them in there, let them saute up a little bit. Again, this takes no time at all. Really quick meal and it's really healthy. That doesn't take much time. Probably 2 minutes and everything is warmed up, sauteed very well. And then what I do is I also put a little bit of lemon juice in there. Gives a little bit more flavor. You don't need much. I usually use about a teaspoon, maybe a tablespoon, depending on how much meat I'm cooking. And that's all you do is let it sit there. I put the fire down to simmer. Actually very low is what I put it down to. And then just let this simmer for a while that rice is cooking. Once the rice is done cooking, then we'll plate it up, and I'll show you how easy and quick this is. Okay, and there we have it. Now all we need to do is plate up our food. Got to be real careful on the rice, it's very hot. And I got to tell you, this is a very nutritious meal. With the rice, the carrots, the broccoli. Then you've got the pine nuts, which have all kinds of nutrients in them, besides your chicken and your sun-dried tomatoes. But the pine nuts have vitamin K and vitamin E in them, along with lots of minerals, and you've got also your riboflavin, your niacin, you've got magnesium, phosphorus, copper, zinc, iron, and potassium just in the pine nuts alone. So you've got a lot of nutrients in this meal, and this meal didn't take me more than about 10 minutes to make. So see how easy that is? You can cook at home, doesn't take much time. Have your chicken ready, like I say, make it up a couple days in advance, you're good to go. And there you have your meal for the day, or for lunch or dinner. Now, so if you don't mind, subscribe to my channel, hit that bell, and hit the like button if you would. Thanks very much for joining me today, and look out for my next video on healthy cooking.